Oh,
Welcome.
Fancy.
Got the title
Ooh.
screen in there. Woo!
Title screen.
I
Wow.
love it.
I know. And all this for just a silly little game that we played together. Um,
Silly little game.
how's the audio? Anybody checking the audio? I thought I heard myself on
I can-
somebody. Okay,
Good.
perfect. Welcome back to yet another special game of the Reign of Masters Chicago by Night Chronicle, brought to you by me and my coterie of wonderful, lovely friends here.
And Raid Shadow Legends.
And you just lost every dot of performance you ever bought. The the episode is a special episode tonight. Like last week's episode, we are not ready to fully commit to our full game, our season 3 finale just yet, but we're thinking probably in a couple weeks our schedules will iron out and we will be able to get fully back into the swing of things. So tonight, however, since we have everybody here, I do kind of want to play the video of the opening because it was made
Ooh.
and my buddy Raytog made it, and he's a very good video editor, and I appreciate him, and I'd like to show him off. So
He is? Oh, it's
yeah,
almost like if. Does he have a YouTube channel
he
that
does
people
have a
could go
YouTube
to?
channel. Hey
What?
Todd,
A YouTube?
what is
Yep,
that?
yeah. Hang on, I'll do it.
While
I
you're
don't
doing that
remember how to
and
do it.
dropping it in the chat and all that fun stuff, here's our introduction. Fun, everybody.
Fun.
That's easier than going around and saying, "Hey, how about you introduce yourself and you introduce yourself." It's a little
Yeah, that would be a
easier.
dumb way to do it. We would never want to do something like
I
that.
know.
Never. Who the
I always
hell would
feel-
do some weird shit like that?
I always feel like an asshole being like, "And you go," and stuff like that. But actually, in the vein of that, I'm basically going to be doing that for the rest of the evening, because this little special game was orchestrated by our very own Antonius Giovanni, who brought the coterie together on this night. A couple nights before we will return, a couple nights after our previous special episode, where certain meetings were had and plans were kind of put out there. Um, it was a meeting that was called to kind of shore up the defenses and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So, um, with that in mind, there is a small caveat that we will get to first, with our own youngest little Ygritte, who wanted to make
Oh,
a bit
she
of a
is the
side trip.
youngest.
Side quest.
So, Ygritte, as we transition to spooky music.
Okay.
And additionally, let's go ahead and pick up on. Let's see. Where do I want to put you? let's just start here.
I got a few places I can put her.
I'm sure you do.
What a lovely note.
Called out.
So, Egret, there was discussions had towards the end of last game that you found troubling, and you have a friend, or at least a God, I can't help myself, a kindred spirit that you want to that you want to convey information to in a way that would not go against your clan specifically. Um,
Yeah.
And in doing so, you had discussions with your sire, and you had planned to go out to meet, I believe, Mr. Clancy this evening before your meeting with the rest of the coterie. I didn't know if you wanted to bring Roland along. That's entirely your call.
No. Ygritte was going to do this by herself because Roland thought that he was probably going to be more closely watched than Ygritte. They're gonna pay less attention to her.
Fair.
You hope.
So, you make your way to the familiar pumping station, the one of the known entrances to the underground network of tunnels in Chicago that is known as the Labyrinth, where kindred reside and all various sorts of spooky, scary skeletons may lie. Um, with everything that you know about this place, you know that you have a standing invitation from Clancy, and that was pre vampirism. That was when you were a ghoul. So, now that you are, in fact, a fellow kindred, you feel a little more comfortable coming back into this place. Um, things are a little more vibrant. The smells, the sights, the atmosphere, it almost welcomes you a little bit more. Um, when you get into kind of this pumping station entrance, you are almost immediately without without even really needing to seek out or find Clancy. You hear over your left shoulder the familiar, well, it seems that I've been graced with a visit this evening. How are you, my dear Ygritte?
Things have been busy, to say the least. Firstly, I just wanted to extend mine and Roland's thanks for your assistance um, with that night in the radio tower, the broadcast tower. Um, things were so crazy. We didn't really have much of a chance, but we really appreciated it.
The the slender, kind of gaunt Nosferatu regards you with that comment and just kind of like nods his head to one side. Um, Notably, too, just for you, you see he's showing himself. He's not trying to hide from you like he does with most others. He's comfortable being in your line of sight, which is kind of the highest sort of compliment Clancy could really give you. That comfortability. Um, and as he kind of takes a minute to regard this, he says, "Well, I don't make many new friends, but I like to keep the ones that are the most respectful, at least a little safe from this city if I can. And to be quite honest, The one that was there, that threatened your life. I didn't much care for her when she tried to invade my domain down here. Not very respectful, that one.
That's for sure. Is this a safe spot to talk, or would you rather go somewhere else?
It fully depends on the nature of the conversation, but. And he kind of looks around, all in like a 360 degrees. Notably, his body doesn't move a whole lot, but his head kind of does, like an owl. And I believe that we're alone enough. That prying ears shouldn't be too difficult to avoid.
All right. So, like I said, we've been really busy. And that's why Roland didn't accompany me tonight. We've been doing a lot of work. You know how the club scene is. There's always new faces, and they they throw their weight around and try to push people out of the scene. And the latest thing is the underground scene. They think there's something special about it. They think that it's the key to success in the music scene, but they don't seem to understand that you don't just walk in to the underground scene from up above. You don't go from these street level clubs and suddenly move in and think that the scene will welcome you. You know, like they don't, and that's one of my biggest problems lately. Not up and coming, not little artists trying to weasel into our territory, but these more established groups that want to take over the small clubs. You get what I'm saying?
Clancy doesn't have much in the way of eyebrows, but the muscle above his eye does raise slightly. And he says, I believe that I am understanding the plight that you're describing. It seems so unfortunate that those in your orbit would be so brazen to try and encroach on your territories. But there is more to it than that. You mentioned that these forces believe that the underground is where their fortunes are to be made, that there is something special to be gained. In truth, my young friend, there are many things to be gained. And he takes a big sniff, and he does get slightly closer to you, but kind of still maintaining your personal bubble. I believe that something from the underground has found its way to you, my dear.
Huh? Totally in character. She just did, huh?
Have you you been given any trinkets lately? Any reading material from old kindred that may have slipped out of their hands and into yours?
No,
Hmm.
not that I know of.
Perhaps it is to come. Be
Uh,
mindful. Be aware.
always. Um, she takes out like it's like a shipping box, just like a little one from her bag, and she goes, "Oh, as part of the thank you, I got it's just a random lot of like vintage pins."
So, real quick, when you're pulling, you have like a satchel or a bag that you're pulling that out of.
I always have like a backpack.
Okay. In the backpack, when you go to reach for this, you do feel something else in there.
She's gonna keep going with the box first, and she's gonna go to hand it to Clancy.
Clancy's long, slender, clawed fingers outstretched and kind of almost encompass the box entirely with their spider-like wrap, and then he pulls them closer, and like a child, almost like in oh, I totally blanked. What's the case, the briefcase? You open it and there's a glow, and nobody actually knows what's in the case. Why am I blanking on that movie? Uma Thurman.
It's a Halliburton. Oh,
John Travolta. Oh my God.
Pulp Fiction.
Thank you. Pulp Fiction. The briefcase. He opens the box of vintage pins, and it's almost like a light shining up on his face. And he just, you see this, and it's probably very off-putting because it's Clancy's face. But there's a childlike uh, quality to it, and just this appreciation and wonder. Uh, and you can see his mind thinking about going through this box of pins, and where he's going to put them and what he's going to do with them. Um, and he will smile with his big toothy maw and just say, I don't know that in my life before or after death, if anyone has given me a greater gift.
Well, you did save my now unlife, but you know it's
Smart.
not really.
Smart of him, Roland, to do that, by the way.
Tell him you said that. But and then she's still like just kind of staring at the backpack, and the wheels are turning, and but she doesn't say anything to Clancy. She just kind of zips it back shut and puts it back on her back. I was going to hang out and go through the pins with you, but actually have a meeting to get to. Um, so I gotta go pick up Roland and everything. But thanks for meeting with me, and can't wait to see what you do with all those pins. I don't know. Maybe you should look into like Eda bags, because I think you're gonna run out of room on your coat.
He takes one hand and like opens a bit of his coat, and the inside of his coat is lined with pins. It's just
I love how we took this one random character trait, and it's like his.
it was more fun than I expected it to be. Well, I won't keep you. I understand you have very important things to do, and know that you are always welcome down here, Egret. You and Roland.
Appreciate
I
that.
I have much to do these nights as well. There is stirrings, things going on down here that need attention.
Well, you have my contact info, so
I believe that I do.
yeah,
Again, I cannot thank you enough for the gift.
it's nothing.
As you say, it's nothing. He is gone.
Oh, all right then.
Mainly because that hurts my throat.
Fair. And then she heads back to their haven to pick up Roland.
Perfect. Alrighty. On the way back to your haven, is there anything else that anyone would like to do before we get to the recently renovated Giovanni Mansion? Anyone else have any pre-meeting, pre-plots and plans that they would like to get to? No? Okay. It's relatively early in the night. As you all make your way up to a beautiful mansion that has been just well preserved for the city of Chicago. Everything, skyscrapers, modern buildings all look relatively new. This has retained its character, surrounded by skyscrapers, surrounded by the modern world changing and moving. It has kept that charm. And and this is more a question, I believe, for Antonius and Six. But please elaborate on what they see when they arrive.
Well, uh, much as you just said, uh, this is actually a real place in Chicago. Previously, it was known as the Cable House. And it really is like just on Erie Street, and it is surrounded by, you can even see in this picture, like by skyscrapers. And it's this little, like, 2-story, like, brick and stone little castle of a little mansion. It is has been designated a historical landmark in the city. A lot of history, both public to the city of Chicago, and a lot of history with within the kindred too. But uh, yeah, uh, that's a really good shot of what you see when you first roll up. Um, I'm just assuming that this is. You mentioned that this was occurring closer, like a couple of weeks after the last game. So makes sense. The Christmas lights are still up.
Holiday light. People leave them up all the time. There's people in my neighborhood right now that have lights up. So we're gonna
We
go
just
with it.
started having people take it down
Yeah.
on our end too. So yeah, um, yeah. So you get that from the outside. Uh, it is weirdly old and opulent at the same time.
Now I know that security has been increased at the Giovanni Mansion. And there are a couple of new additions to security that I don't know how the security force is laid out. I know that Six is in charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
So as they all enter into the mansion, and I'm gonna say that this is the entryway, because why not? I got a lot of pictures, and I don't know where you want them, but that's one I got.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. That's right.
So as we all enter into the mansion, I'm sure that there's some security. You also will see, because the Giovanni Mansion has been designated now an official Elysium within the city of Chicago. Many faces, uh, and again, Six and Antonius, you would have seen this in your time these past couple of weeks. Many new faces have been cycling through. You know them to be most likely members of the Hekata that heard your call, saw the invitation that you put out, and have been using your residence as both a safe haven and place to crash, place to feel safe these nights. Um, there are many faces that are kind of in the various seating rooms throughout the mansion. Some security, some um, obviously members of kindred that are off the street, just taking a moment to rest. Is everybody arriving at around the same time? And who all is coming together? I mean, I know Roland and Ygritte will be coming together. Braggy, are you and Mercy coming together or separate?
Mercy would have offered.
You're muted.
You're muted.
It's all good.
He was attempting to eliminate the. He's being a good bean.
He is. Was that the echo? Was that we determined?
Maybe.
Probably.
You're back.
There it is.
There we go. I just had to turn off automatic input sensitivity.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Braggy would have taken Mercy up on the offer to arrive together.
Perfect. We will say that for the purposes of that, Mercy and Bragg, you will get to the house first because Ygritte had some business to take care of beforehand, so they're going to be slightly late. As you both arrive, you are greeted by the security. They kind of know who you are. And I don't, Antonius and Six, I don't know if you would be waiting for them as well, but you obviously it is your place.
Oh, probably.
You tell
Yeah.
me.
How into the security thing do you want to get with it? You want to do this?
You tell
Say
me.
what now? What's up?
How into the security thing do you want to get? You want to deal with this? This is your area.
You can definitely tell which one's house staff and which one's security. I'm sure you can tell which ones are kindred by just knowing. The security are all pretty much in pretty much identical suits or similar garb to one another. All black, of course. All with some kind of earpiece. You don't really need to wonder if they're armed because, well, it's security.
They definitely provide that sort of like people know that this is an Elysium. It is very enforced, and they know based on the reputation, everybody in here's relaxed and calm. There's not a whole lot of danger. You don't get a lot of red flags entering into the Giovanni Mansion, despite it being, unfamiliar territory. You've been so used to meeting in the domain of the prince for so long that meeting in a different place you thought might seem a little weird, but it's not. Same level of security, feel just as secure.
It's not just men, like male security guards. There's a sprinkling of female
females among the staff as well.
Are we searched or anything as we come in?
Ooh,
Or is it
I-
assumed because it is an Elysium that we would be on our best behaviors?
I would say
Hmm.
probably the latter. You're aware
Okay.
that it is an
Mhm.
Elysium and that you probably should be good.
Or faces are definitely on the guest list. Or should we just say, because I forgot that this happened for a little while, Braggy's new face.
Yes. New face. Who dis? The two of you go in. You find a comfy seat to wait, and as you are just getting sat down, as it always is the case, Roland and Egret show up to make everybody move once more. Notably, though, Roland and Egret, when you walk in, you kind of survey the normal things that were just discussed: the new security detail, the staff of the house, the various faces taking shelter here in this Elysium, and you recognize one. The person that you recognize um, is a woman with lighter hair sitting over in the corner, just kind of looking at just a paper, just reading. And she kind of looks up from her paper and eyes you both and does kind of like a little bit of an eye roll before she goes back to looking um, down at her paper. And she doesn't seem to, she doesn't draw your attention or beckon you over or anything of that nature. Um, but she is there and she knows that you are there.
Awesome. Awesome. He does not react.
That's always fun when you just decide to roll against yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah. No, you don't. Um,
fantastic.
I would have put the difficulty at 3 too, so that works out. You you do notice, however, that um, she seems to be reading the Chicago Tribune or something, but it doesn't seem like she's really looking at it. Very subtly, you can tell that she's not there to relax. She's probably gathering information. You know what she is. You know who she is.
Mm.
You know why she's here, at least in the greater Chicago area. So it's safe to assume that she's not there to take a load off.
She's looking for a man.
She's looking for a man. That's it. You got her.
She's got to feed somehow.
That is true. Um,
All right. So if they really pay attention to Roland, he will look. Oh, he looks over, impassive, and then looks back to Mercy and Bragi, and you see an audible breath, but that's about it. And then walks over to you two.
You said that there was like a smattering of kindred among, I mean, the security, obviously, and then like staff, because it's a very large building, but also just like a smattering of kindred about, much like our darling Diana. That's just kind of a collection of people. Is that correct?
That's a fair assumption to make. Not really anybody that you um, that you recognize.
Sure.
There maybe there's a couple of people that maybe you're like, hey, I think I've seen them at Nova before,
Mhm.
but nobody that stands out to you like, oh shit, that's a person that I need to pay attention to. It's
Sure.
more so just the random uh, wayward kindred of the city of Chicago. So.
Okay. Um, so given an unfamiliar audience, essentially,
Mhm.
regardless of their like intention of not the Mercy will have like she's kind of like head started to sit and will rise and like offer a hand intentionally first to Egret, and if she is like accepts it, she'll like put both her hands like, oh darling, it's so good to see you, how are you doing?
Sorry, you're muted.
She gives you a look at the hands thing and just gives you a hug.
Fair. Then she will return the hug happily. And have they seen much of each other since Egret has turned?
That's a question for you two to answer.
No,
I'd say probably not. No.
no.
Then she will, in that same vaguely oddly formal, but just in the setting of where they are, not necessarily her comfortable home territory. She will then step back and say, "Oh, unlife was so becoming on you, dear. I'm glad to see you well."
She's trying her best to act normal, knowing that the Justicar's over there and trying not to give it away.
I we didn't mention Justicode.
That's a word that somebody here doesn't know, but that's okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
No,
Perfectly
like
fine.
Yeah, that's fine. You're good.
We're good.
Seamus is weird.
it says it on her picture, so that was put up in Roll20. But I'm just saying, like, Ygritte's very much trying not to let anybody know that she is dying all over again inside. But she's like, oh, thanks.
You see
You know.
that out of the corner of your eye, Roland, because you're not part of this interaction, you do see that um, Diana has taken out a pen, and while she is also reading, she is writing. So,
It's just two girlfriends catching up.
yeah.
She's like, oh, Mercy, you're not going to have to carry me on your back anymore. I'm probably almost as fast as you now.
I look forward to testing that out. In perhaps safer circumstances than the others we faced.
Yeah, let's hope.
That is my greatest desire. She'll turn. Roland, so good to see you. And again, she'll offer a very familiar hand. This is not like a business handshake. Again, this is that kind of like reaching out to.
He will take her hand, bow slightly, and kiss her hand, and then it's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Masters. Again.
Oh, quite so. And then she will curtsy as he does so. In the very infamous flourish of hers. A pleasure as always. So, I'm sorry, and she'll gesture to Braggy, who she's not necessarily included yet in this. Say, it's a pleasure to see you all. These nights have been quite interesting, haven't they?
Yes, company has been rather interesting recently.
Full of shit. Such an asshole. Okay.
Braggy just has a noticeably confused look on his face at all these strange formalities occurring.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
would the role be
it is
for me to
strange, isn't it?
kind of, yeah. Is there a role for me to pick up that there's something else that
Yeah.
you should be aware of?
Yeah, we could do a roll for that. That would most likely be Oh, let's see. Probably an insight and wits.
That's okay. Do I click on this? I forget. Do I click on this? Where do I
Skill,
Skill first.
skill first, and then yeah, you add the wits to it, and
Yeah.
then I don't believe that you have anything that would add any additional dots to that.
Correct. I don't. Oh, this is about to be bad. Oh, what's the difficulty?
Let's say it's pretty weird. Let's say 2.
Pretty weird.
Hey, that's not bad. You roll your dice and get yourself a perfect little 2 of 2. This is fucking weird. This is not how they talk to one another. You definitely get the urge probably to go, why are you doing this? But then something in the back of your mind, maybe it's the beast, maybe it's the voice that you got in the back of your head from the blood in your veins, it tells you, play it subtly. Don't let on that this is unusual.
Thanks, Eddie Hall. um. Anyways, Braggy stands up and I don't know which one. Does it really matter which order I go in for handshakes and
Yes, it
formality?
does.
It does.
It very much does.
Quite a bit about what
You
It
don't.
always
Braggy
matters.
doesn't know how.
Yeah.
That's
You
fine.
got,
Beans.
you got a 50-50 shot. Who you picking?
Damn, I don't have a coin on me. All right. Beans. Roland? Question mark?
Are you asking or you?
He chose Roland.
the
Okay.
Yeah, I
chose.
chose
Okay.
Roland.
He
How did that
chose
go?
Roland.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
everybody
Roland will.
dies.
Yeah, Roland will. Roland will shake his hand. It's a pleasure seeing you again, Mr. Masters.
Likewise. And then, Braggy, being the man of few words because of nervousness, extends a handshake to Egret.
Probably see the small shadows that he's casting are wiggling all nervous. they have cartoon nervous shadow lines.
I want that so much.
I love that.
Yeah, she takes his hand. She notices Roland's reserved nature, and she goes, "Good to see you."
You as well.
Well, darlings, Breck and I have only just beat you here.
Only
I
just.
haven't heard from our hosts yet.
Shame, I wanted to be fashionably late.
Oh, darling, the only fashionably late people here seems to be our darling Mr. Giovanni.
I feel like
I believe-
at this.
I
I
believe-
feel like at this point, like
Oh,
if we just smash cut to like a security room and like him and Six are like, oh, they're fucking everything up.
So
What are they
Roland's-
doing?
Roland's response is, "I believe he's just fashionable, Miss Masters."
Whatever is appropriately thematically, I figured we'll join.
You do. Let's pick a room. Which one shall we pick?
Oh no, we gotta do this in the main hall with just a car in the room.
Okay.
To start with, if we're keeping this uncomfortable, we're keeping it uncomfortable.
Okay. We'll stay here then. As both Antonius and Six come to join you all.
Big staircase from the first image coming down.
Now I just have the scene from Gone with the Wind.
Frankly, I don't give a.
Frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn.
They come down. Tony's all about as about as nice as you'd expect in a place like this. He's ditched the whole casual thing. It's all like black suit, black tie, same thing. He does look a little different than you guys saw him last time. There are noticeable changes. A little less colorful in the face. It's distinctly reduced to something more gray, something less full of life. Like clearly not bothering with blush of life. Um, the skin's a little tighter on his bones. The cheekbones are a little more defined. The ridge on the forehead's a little more defined. And notably, just standard issue at this point. His eyes are no whites to them. They're just black. Just solid. Still has the same overall like dress and look. Is like a little less soft on him. Everything's a little more like wired and like it feels like he's a little bigger, but his clothes are the same size. It's got a whole weird like vibe to him. Considering as we left, a lot of things. But they'd come down. He'd probably like lean it up to a couple of security people as they're walking, whisper something, and then move up to the group. So you all made it safe. I'm glad. Welcome. I've been working on this place for a while.
How's everything working out?
Your suggestion. Very well received.
Good. He will bow to. It's a pleasure to see you again, Mr. Giovanni.
He'll nod. And, well, shall we get through this?
I assume somewhere other than here.
Oh, we have, as a note, and he says this out in the open with just a car and ring. This is a proper Elysium now. We have plenty of meeting rooms for people to use at their discretion. So let's go use one. I'd probably suggest the drawing room. It's not. And we'll lead people. It's like around the stairs, first floor. When we get to one of the doors, it looks like this nice, like, red, like, mahogany-looking doors and stuff, but, like, in the door jam and stuff, it is very similar tech to the shit that Maggie had at Nova, with the mag locks and punch in a little code, open the door, lead everyone in. When the door opens, it isn't like creaky wood, it's like, it's sealed.
As a matter of just clarity and formality, as Mercy greets Mr. Giovanni, also she will, instead of extending her hand as she has to the other, just simply curtsy and nod her head at him and thanks.
Get the same back.
It just feels like we should clarify
Six came
those
down with
things.
him.
We assume.
Yeah, 6 came down with him.
Okay.
She's dressed similar to Giovanni, except pretty much like her picture as it is now. Instead of black, she's more of like a much deeper red suit. Hair slicked back, sunglasses. Looks pretty much like part of the security detail herself, as she usually does.
Roland will nod to 6.
Yeah.
And bow his head.
She'll do the same.
See,
Lead everyone in.
Yeah.
Shut the door.
So when you shut the door, Roland visibly relaxed.
Can I Same with Ygritte. She just kind of goes, "Ooh, how?"
As I want to say, as the group is heading down around the staircase towards the room,
Mm-hmm.
Six kind of makes a gesture to two of the female security and kind of gestures for them to follow and kind of stand guard outside the door.
Would these two female security personnel
Yes.
make their faces known?
Yeah.
Okay. You see two very similarly dressed women. Um, why can I no show everyone? Okay. Well, that's annoying.
You have no power here? Question mark.
I don't apparently.
You might have to give everyone access or something.
There we go.
Usually it does it by itself. There it is.
Yeah, it's supposed to do it
Ooh.
by itself, but it didn't. So you find these two.
Babes.
Nice. Yeah. No.
Fancy.
Mommy, what?
He's gonna die his first night here.
Yeah.
He's not saying that.
You find these two lovely women having given particular interest in you and your group, and the security of which you are being afforded. They do follow you from a short distance. Giovanni Mansion, appropriate, and notably post up outside of this meeting room. Both of them nodding to you, Six, and just in the way that you've come to know their shorthand, they, they're keeping everything on lock for your
Mhm.
meeting. You will not be disturbed, or they'll be dead. Either one will come before the
Yeah.
other. So, inside the room, sealed now, there is a definite a silence that you wouldn't afford to an older place like this. You can tell it has definitely been fortified as per Antonius's wishes to be similarly soundproofed and secured, much like the suites at Nova. Um,
There's an added benefit to that too. The chat actually can't see it because the dice rolls are in front of it, but the soundproofing also helps with the piano. That's
yes, there is a
Ooh.
piano.
Ooh.
Ooh.
See?
yep. Not that important, but
No.
it sounds good.
It does. Gives a nice, rich sound bouncing off the mahogany on the walls. You find yourselves within the room. A couple of you taking a well-deserved, relaxing breath. And this is the fun part for me as the storyteller, because I get to go, have your conversation, and I'm here if you need me.
Yeah.
Great.
Braggy is still extremely visibly confused as to what just happened and goes, what's with the formalities and why do I have this feeling I should be terrified?
Yes, you probably
You're right.
should be.
Beans.
Take a seat, buddy.
Well, you
Did
do
you-
represent the prince in your actions
Well, that's
in
not
public.
why. That's not why. The woman in the corner,
Hmm?
she's a Justicar of the Toreador clan. We have issues.
Forgive me.
Things are
My
starting to
ignorance.
line up. Okay. All right. Let's. I'm gonna pull this very ostentatious table over here. We're all gonna have seats. Let's talk.
It's-
Is there a fainting
there's a-
couch?
I'm gonna chime in
You were gonna
here
say yes. That can
as
be.
Yes.
Yeah.
As
You
Antonius
might
goes to
you
bring
might
the
need
table
it.
over, it's like the scene in Men in Black when Will Smith
Exactly
is scooting
what
the
I
table.
wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly what I wanted.
It's that. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Secondarily,
Roland goes to sit on the piano.
you be careful with that. That is not yours.
Excuse you.
Do you mind if I play? If I need to?
Sometimes I just spontaneously play.
Sure.
That's it. Braggy's gonna start carrying an acoustic guitar and a guitar case on his back at all times.
Want
Just turn things into jams. This is going to become a band. This is going to become a band.
Yeah, probably. Why not? You know, nervous
Oh.
guitar playing.
Okay. So, you're saying that that lady out there is the Toreador Justicar.
Correct.
A lot of things are lining up.
What's a Justicar?
Okay. Remind me what you, let's make this easy. Let's start with you. Remind me what you know of kindred organizational government. Titles, all that shit. What do you know so far?
There's the prince up at the tippy top.
We're going to rectify that, but okay, yes. There's the prince of the city.
So, well, relatively, I guess. But then there's also a series of, like, the clan leaders kind of
Mm-hmm.
overseeing that. Wait, is Juster kind of like a kind of a law enforcement type for a clan?
Let's get this straight. Okay. So yes, Prince is in charge of a city, as far as Camarilla is concerned. This is all inside the Camarilla. There is the Anarchs and the Sabbat, which are different governmental bodies that are different things. They don't apply here. We have the Prince of the city. You have the Primogen Council, which is the heads of the clans. In theory, they get to vote for the clans and give that information to the prince, where the prince can choose to or use that information or ignore it. The prince is the supreme ruler. And there's a couple other titles around there, like second in command, the sheriff is the boss of enforcing the law, and they can have underlings and things like that. That's what we've been dealing with so far. Since you're close to mortal timeline here, you were a mortal until very recently. Let's put this in mortal government thing. That is the equivalent of a state government, okay? The prince is the prince of a city. We kindred don't go outside the cities very much because A, it's hard to travel only at night and not get hit with the sun, and B, we have to stay where the humans are. A Justicar and things above that are closer to what you would say the federal government.
She's an FBI agent.
Oh, shit.
If everybody in here is uneducated on it, here's the skinny. There's a big, scary fucking group called the Inner Circle. Okay? Feel free to think of them as you might the Illuminati. They are the unknown heads of the Camarilla. We will never know who is on the Inner Circle.
Well,
We never know for sure. There's a lot of game playing about that. And in the Inner Circle, they make the choices of what the Camarilla is doing, what it stands for, and the whole purpose of it. Generally organized, kindred, living as best we can within the bounds of the masquerade. Justicars, the lady out there, are kind of like FBI is fair, but each clan only gets one. And mind you, this isn't countrywide. This is worldwide. This is global. Each clan gets one Justicar. And their purpose is to go in, find people that have broken the traditions, the big rules that you learned real early on that you're supposed to follow, and bring them to justice. The big one is diablerie. The punishment is usually death. The punishment for most things is usually final death.
It's a very simple system.
Justicars usually get underlings of their own, archons, that are their agents. And you're up to date. That's a lot of terms, but again, this is not like Camarilla USA shit. This is shit out of Venice. This is shit out of Europe. This is shit out of Australia. Yes, it gets weird down there, but it's still a thing.
Australia's just weird in general.
It's all that's a different story.
Good night, mate.
The only thing that it does not generally get involved with is the stuff in the around Asia, because their kindred are very strange and we don't get along. Usually.
Color me surprised.
One of these days, I'm going to do a lot more research on all the different kindred of the world, but not today.
I mean, you could go talk to Cerritus. He'd probably be able to tell you everything you wanted to know.
Talk your ear off.
Let me get ChatGPT up.
I'll tell you, speaking to Cerritus is a lesson in learning what questions to ask. And he'll give you plenty to ask questions about. They won't always be relevant or helpful, but at least there's a starting point, unlike what we typically have as new kindred, which is very little. I don't know if this is true for you, Egret, but I certainly have found that I don't even know what questions to ask.
Yeah, I've been kind of asking Roland just random shit that pops into my head since he ghouled me, so
Mm.
he gets pretty sick of it sometimes.
It was
Yeah,
easier
well-
to teach you slowly than to info dump on you.
There's a
But
lot
Probably
of
if you-
tastes better.
But if you want to know, Cerritus is the person who will tell you. That being stated, it will be a test in the one thing we actually have. Time and patience. Good luck.
I will give you why. Because I know at least this much. He's not very shy about keeping some things a secret. He talks a lot because he taught debate in Athens. He's old. He's got a lot of information. But parsing through that information is going to hurt.
I find him quite charming, if, yes, long-winded. You could devote many nights in his company. I, in fact, have.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Okay, as an aside, if you ask ChatGPT to write your perspective using the Vampire the Masquerade lore, it can, and it's fun.
Oh!
Oh, Jesus.
Oh
Neat.
boy.
I want to use this more now. That'll be fun.
Safety concerns.
Yeah.
I'll next time I write to Cerritus, I'll have him reach out to you as well, Frankie.
He's about to
You should
send
go-
you a pinned
I was gonna say-
message.
You should go visit him at the library. I mean,
Yes,
Well, I
Frankie.
do need to learn. But we're getting sidetracked on.
We are getting sidetracked. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but okay.
it's diversion to not think about it.
Let's jump
Why
back to
is
the
a
subject
Justicar
hand.
at our doorstep?
That is a very good question.
So, okay.
Do you want me to go first?
I wanna convene here because it seems like you knew who that was. It's
Yeah.
okay. That implies y'all had a talk too. It seems like several of us are having talks, and I want to put this on the table before we get started, right? We've been through some pretty thick and thin already. I take this coterie stuff seriously. I have a great number of secrets. That's not surprising anybody.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, we all have secrets. But a coterie isn't worth anything if you can't trust the people in it. So, you had an interesting meeting, Roland. I had an interesting meeting that seems like it lines up with yours a little bit, although it wasn't much of a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me yours, I'll tell you mine, and we'll figure out where we go from there.
Sure. So, not really. I'm going to be vague while being poignant. Maggie has gotten us into some problems.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but please continue.
Apparently, she summoned the Ventru Inner Circle member to the city.
Well, she told us she planned to do as much.
Well, yes, but because of that action, a Justicar is in the city.
That's big.
Because one does not simply summon the Inner Circle without something on them, let's say.
That's a lot. And for y'all younger kindred, just to be clear, there's like the Inner Circle, we don't know shit about it, really, like for real. They don't let that stuff be known, but basically we know there's like pretty much like 7 of them. And that's it. It is 7 of the most powerful kindred on Earth. And Maggie just got one to come here. Or
Which,
is trying to.
well, I believe what was told to me was in the is tense.
Is.
I have a follow-up question before we go further, if you allow me. So there's this inner circle, right? And the Justicar is a tier down from these people, a sort of
They're
an
police.
enforcer. Yes,
Yes.
sure. Okay, so Maggie, as she told us she planned, has summoned the Venture member of the inner circle because she has documents, perhaps, that she believes will be of relevance to her current standing among the kindred and relevant to the inner circle. Is that correct?
I don't know what she has.
Great. So then, in in turn, because there has been action in this city that involves the inner circle, the police force has sent someone who has now spoken with you and was sitting outside observing the Elysium, the newest Elysium of the city of Chicago, and the peoples who are coming and going within it.
Yeah, and I have been, let's say, warned is a kindly way of putting it, that I need to toe the line.
Well, perhaps it is all the better then that I created egret before you. Or all the worse, but maybe
I don't want to say too much because I can tell Roland is being very vague for a reason. But I do know that woman out there scared the ever-loving shit out of Annabelle.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of that, I'm not 100% sure where she stands. So, that's interesting.
That was definitely the weirdest interaction I've ever had with Annabelle.
So, remember the woman that we passed on our way, coming back from the 6?
Hmm.
The woman Portia?
Right.
The one with Annabelle.
Yeah, she was there when I was asking about getting this place Elysium status. Yeah, that's right.
So, at that juncture in time, I thought it was odd, but, Annabelle had a boss. She is the one who placed calls. So she is highly influential.
To be clear, that's weird. Again, for people who aren't the younger folk. Annabelle's the primogen of the Toreador.
Toreador clan. Yeah.
Should be head of clan as far as the city of Chicago is concerned. If she has a boss, that's a thing. That's questionable. Or at least that is a sign that there is something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
It's a concern.
That's a big concern.
It's
Annabelle having a boss already is just between her personality, besides her rank. That's fun.
Yeagert's gonna lean in real close to Roland and just kind of ask him quietly, should I tell them about why we were late?
I mean, couldn't hurt.
So I made a visit to Clancy tonight before we came here.
Is he good?
Oh, he's doing good. He says things are busy, but I didn't give him details. I was very vague about what I said, just more vague than we're being here tonight. Because Portia mentioned the labyrinth and was very curious if we brought anything out of it.
And how do we get in?
Yeah.
Fortunately, she spoke to me, and we all know how useful I was down there.
If we get lucky, she'll try and go down herself and won't come back out.
I don't believe us to be that lucky.
Neither do I.
But Clancy has been warned as such. I'm pretty sure he got what I was saying.
Good. Glad.
And he's even warming up to you, Roland.
I don't believe that for a moment. But yeah, so that is worrisome on a few levels.
All right. That's yours.
Your mother has put us into some shit.
What's new?
I mean,
it seems that a lot of people have taken notice. So that's yours, Roland.
Okay.
Here's mine, and it's sitting at the table. He'll reach forward, open up a drawer, and on the table, in between all of them, put down a very ornate knife with a clunk. So a couple of days ago, we had a visitor. It wasn't much of a visit. The short version is somebody very powerful sent a human being here that was very firmly dominated, delivered a message, and then spectacularly killed themselves.
It's kind of how I got my letter, but without the death.
And lit themselves on fire.
Mm-hmm. flash paper. It was a thing. So I'm sure most of you know that the Hikata, my clan, our clan, the clan that this building was originally put here for, are not technically part of the Camarilla. We're technically outsiders, a third party, a neutral group. Until lately, and that's mostly my fault, because I thought you guys were worth it. The short of it is, our clan's a bunch of different like bloodlines that all split off from one source that focused around necromancy. And we had feuds for generations and generations, and recently we all came back together after we kind of pulled a coup and got rid of the old regime that kept us all fighting instead of working together, and things have been going a lot better. That's background info. One of the kindred that kind of brought that to fruition was apparently the person who delivered, or who this message was from, supposedly. This could be a lie-in from somebody else, in theory, but the way it was delivered, I don't think so. A old pre-medieval, supposedly, kindred called the Capuchin. Which might not actually just be one person, it might be like three, nobody really knows. Gave us a pretty stern warning after congratulating us for being good and successful and everything. Gave us a concerned warning that, hey, there's trouble blowing from the Camarilla. You might just want to keep your head down. It's a short version of it. Kind of stay out of the crossfire, and how the people at the top could be blown off by winds of change. And it was cryptic, and it was a monk. But so outside information knows what the hell is going on here, and has pointedly tried to warn me to avoid this. So we got a Justicar in the next room, and we got monks coming into my house and lighting themselves on fire after they stab themselves in the heart after giving a message from something that is pre-medieval.
Oh my!
Maggie did some shit.
Yes.
This is
Actually,
the dumbest, craziest shit I've seen in my life so far. I just want to put that out there, and that's bad.
Happy to please.
quite interesting, actually. Braggy received a letter of a similar cant. Braggy, do you want to share that, or I see what I recall?
Yes, I can share that. One moment. Sorry. Pull something up. Beans. Done in a second. Now I have to remember. Where was that?
It's its own little channel.
Right. Thank you.
We have a meeting with Maggie in the next couple of days here to discuss it with her. But I think it's relevant here. We, as in, sorry, Braggy and I. Although okay. I don't see any reason why you couldn't accompany us, it does seem like perhaps given everything going on, it may be best to update you later.
Yeah, the long and short of it is that we have essentially someone trying to lead us astray and make us question Maggie.
Lead you
They
astray.
know, yeah, they know not only that both Mercy and I are technically adopted.
Well, I mean,
That's
They
common.
that's not uncommon knowledge.
True, but they seem. This letter is. It point blank asks if we trust Maggie. Never mind the fact that whoever sent this literally signed A, 1, and 2 seems to know quite a bit about, well, some kind of mystery plot or another, so I assume they probably know something about,
You're being very
well,
vague about this. I don't understand.
that's because I don't have any information to go on other than this strange letter, which is also very vague.
Did you bring the letter
Unfortunately.
with you by chance? I mean,
Yeah.
I know I didn't.
Yeah, I would have brought the letter with me. So I pull out the letter and let them read it, or I'll read it aloud actually.
I can post it if you want.
I think for the audience sake we can read it aloud too.
We'll get it on the recording.
Yeah.
Fine by me.
Recorded line.
Interestingly enough, the wax seal was of Clan Ventru on the envelope. Letter reads, Adopted One. There are many moving parts to the world of darkness to which you have barely become acquainted. The schemes of the elders should create pause for the young, regardless of mortal notions of bond. The question posed is simple. Do you trust your masters? How well do you think you grasp the world when less than a decade prior you knew nothing of the creatures you've become? Before your forebears took their first steps, one you hold dear laid the foundations of undoing. Take heed and know that time is not infinite for us all, and consider where you wish to end. She does not know. You could keep this from her and ensure a long unlife. The choice remains yours. Signed, A. Like I said, it's vague, but seems to be wanting to place us into a state of mistrust and
That's
confusion
not
among
vague
other
at
things.
all.
It's not vague at all. It's like, get away from Maggie or you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean the threat itself is point blank, but everything else, I mean, what do they
No.
know? What could they possibly?
I mean,
Okay.
That's where I'm
I got a
confused.
better question. Since Horatio Ballard
My favorite.
was dealt with and sent away, I don't know if I can name a notable Ventru whose last name isn't Masters in the city at this point, let alone someone who begins with A. Unless,
Something-
there's just somebody throwing out Ventru seals to throw us off, which is always a possibility. The Machiavellian is strong here.
but doesn't
Look,
also have to be from the city.
That's true.
I appreciate a good death threat as much as the next person, but I don't like the vague.
Do you?
That could be the inner circle person.
Yeah.
It could be. I hope it's not. In which case, Braggy, you how old?
That depends. Like a few weeks
How long
into
you been?
unlife?
How long you been? Yeah, a few weeks. Like you may be a month old. You might have gotten a letter from one of the strongest vampires on the planet. I want you to get that through your skull.
It's interesting to me as well that, given the letter itself, do you trust your masters? Is not just Maggie here.
Yeah.
the more I think about it and the more I go over this letter in my mind, it does seem that they want you to turn on me as much as anyone else. Hence my concern for this meeting this evening. I recognize that I am certainly not an older master, as the case is, nor am I, any less new to the world of kindred than you. But it does seem very specific here.
Like it or not, you're kind of part of a dynasty.
That's right. And the newest part is who received this letter.
Well, we're not going to know that answer until we know.
Like I said, we'll bring this up with Maggie as soon as she's available. She's been quite busy,
Yeah.
as usual.
But
Here's the question.
Hmm?
Should we?
I feel like that implies another question. So, we're not going to be able to act as a coterie if we're not acting on the same. So, Prince Masters invited one of the inner circle to the city. A Justicar is down the hall, and a pre-medieval vampire is setting flammable monks into my house to deliver messages. It is clear we are in a very high-level situation, and I don't know if I'm the oldest in the room, but this is something I've never been involved in.
I'm fairly certain you're the oldest in the room.
I didn't want to assume.
Yeah.
But my point being,
I'm
is...
fairly young, if that is what your question is.
Yeah, it's not a question. You can be however old you are. Oh, age is just a number, right?
Indeed.
The important question here...
I feel 22.
Good. The important question here is, what are we going to do about this? Because we have the option of, as we were with the Sabbat invasion, basically being reactive. When something crops up, we handle it. But that means we're always a step back and playing catch-up. Last time, that had us at a disadvantage for a great length of time.
How do we be proactive with just a car and everything else in the city?
Depends on what we want, which is the next question. What do we want here? Maggie made it pretty clear that she has plans to ascend beyond Prince, perhaps to Inner Council, perhaps to Justicar or Archon or something, right? Don't know for sure. But if there's the highest peak, just knowing Prince Masters, she's just probably going to go for the highest peak. That's a guess, though.
I would agree. That seems very much like her intention.
What do we want?
I suppose peace and tranquility is out of the question.
Always.
How about diplomacy?
Rarely.
I'd like to just not die.
Not dying is a good option. Which is part of the reason I've spent a lot of time on this house. Roland, your suggestions were great, by the way.
You're welcome.
Forgive me. This I'm sure seems off topic, but Tony, Maggie has given you more power within the city. Is that correct? A primogen in your own right?
Sort
or...
of. Kind of. Equivalent of which, yes. That's
sure.
part of how controversial her ruling has been. She's a very progressive person. She put Baron Anita Wainwright on kind of the Primogen Council too, and they're the Anarchs.
Correct.
The Anarchs are kind of Well, okay. The last time that we had a big old vampire meeting that didn't include, the crazy murder sabbat people, the Anarchs killed Hardstat, like the leader of the Ventru, by shooting him in the face with a shotgun full of dragon's breath rounds, like top tier shit. The Camarilla and the Anarchs do not get along. That was maybe a decade ago, which means it was like last month for a vampire, right?
Right. Of course.
They're not good with it. Maggie's making friends with everybody, including their enemies. She's from playing devil's advocate here for a uppity up Camarilla type. She's offering Anarchs seats on the thing. Previously, there always was somebody in the seat that I'm in, right? Marcel had the seat, and it's like, I don't even know how to pronounce the formal title correctly, but essentially it means you can speak for those who don't have a voice. All the clans that don't have a seat on the council. The last prince had that too. So did Prince Loden beforehand, so that's not terribly off-standing, but considering how neutral the Hikata were prior, her giving me a seat is considered radical. Giving an Anarch a seat is very radical. I don't know what happened with the Zamisi that fucked up your concert, but having a Zamisi involved with anything at all, because they're one of the creators of the Sabbat, is super radical. Shit, the previous thing with like the La Sombra coming into the Camarilla is like, this is a lot of change. This is a lot of flipping the whole table upside down, and old vampires generally don't go over that well.
I can assure you, with all of what I am, that this Justicar does not like it.
I can't imagine anybody in an inner circle of a Camarilla would take all of these moves that have been happening in the jewel of the Camarilla, Chicago, well. So, if you're asking me, I don't mind this progress. But the first rule to winning any kind of war is understanding the mindset of your opponent. And that's what we're against. Old kindred creatures that have held on to power for a very, very long time. Imagine the worst politicians you can, but if they were immortal and couldn't be voted out. That's what we got. And they get to pick their hatchet men or women, again down the hall, out of the most powerful vampires of each clan they can find. That's Maggie's opponent in her chess game right now. That's the situation. God damn it. The Discord always gonna knock me out of.
So,
Too feeble.
Yep.
He can't be one of us. Not like us.
No.
so war tends to be won with more deception and tactics than actual warfare, right?
Yes, the Camarilla always handles things with back alley deals, diplomacy, politics. Open conflict is generally viewed as a last resort, and if you are taken to the last resort, you are considered to have failed. If it comes to combat, open combat that everyone else can see, it's failed. Anything that would make Prince Masters look bad on her own without them having shown they were involved with it at all and deposing her without firing a shot would be their goal.
So the uprisings in the city, the incursion of the Sabbat, the Lupine incursion, the changeover of power in back alley deals as it might appear, all of these things would be marks against Maggie.
Could be. They're also just kind of everyday kindred politics, too. This shit happens a lot, unfortunately. And where the mind games start coming in is we don't actually know if the things are what they appear to be, or it's the inner circle pulling fucking strings. This is why when you get so old, you turn into a paranoid mess. You don't know who's doing what for sure, unless you have a lot of ears and eyes. And a lot of string for your string board.
I guess I'd better buy a lot of yarn.
Labyrinth.
That's the thing that I don't know about.
Sorry,
The
Mizui,
labyrinth.
could you repeat yourself? I didn't hear what you'd said.
Sorry, I said, is this why so many kindred take to the labyrinth? Choose to separate from.
Could be. Historically, Nosferatu have been, like, merchants of information, but due to appearance of largely, like, at least culturally and historically, lived in the sewers and built fortifications and information bases and stuff down there. This is, like, some fucked up magic supercharged version of that, though. I don't rightfully know very much about anything in the labyrinth at all. For all the occult shit that I know, all I had is a book. That was it.
Ygritte, do you still have a bag with you?
Yeah, she goes, a book?
Yeah.
And she rummages in her bag and pulls it out.
That's the book.
And she goes, this book?
That looks about right, man.
Okay. That's weird. I've never seen this before, and it was in my bag today.
You probably saw it once when we were down there. But that's different.
Put it back in her bag, and she's gonna be like, gonna zip it up. She's gonna look at Tony and just go, should I be worried?
Tony leans forward, elbows on the table. And once again, his eyes are solid black. It's very useful, but very dangerous. Do everything. If you do anything with that, use the greatest of care. Could be a very serious ally when you need one. Or it could totally not be your style or worth your time. As far as I know, it'll never force you to do anything. The choice will always be yours.
I'll get into some reading, I guess.
I will say, it's dangerous, and it helped me get where I am. And you can take that as you will. And then
All
he'll
right,
lean
then.
back.
Um,
He pulls on some sunglasses to stop being so fucking weird around people. They look a little more normal.
So,
kind of close.
when I
That is pretty close.
when I was vague to Clancy, he did mention I'm just out of character. I'm just trying to like remember exactly what he said and how to put it to the group here. He noticed kind of the same thing I did, with people poking around and more activity. And he mentioned that there's a lot of things down there that they could be after.
I'm sure it's an occult, like, treasure trove down there, but actually securing anything from it or choosing what you get is gonna be. But then again, it's a poorly defined source of power, so old fucking vampires are gonna dive on that.
From your bag,
The,
Egret, you feel like you felt it move, like a pulse that radiates out from the book. That's all.
Yeah. But it's because of the uh, friendship that I've developed with Clancy, and gotta understand this whole group. Sounds broggy because I don't think he's met Broggy, and that's
It's only
Clancy's
in passing.
respect. I was gonna say Broggy wasn't embraced yet when we went down into the labyrinth. Um, but just in general, Clancy has made it clear to me that he respects us, and to him, from what I can gather, that's the, the most important thing to him is respect, mutual respect. So I know at least there we have an ally.
So, our question then is, knowing that we know very little, but also that we are endlessly tied to Maggie in this city and in these choices that she is making. And perhaps regardless of our beliefs of whether they are good choices or bad choices, people are asking us all together whether or not we will side with the prince of the city and this progressive take on what it is to be a creature of the night, or if we are willing to turn our backs on the prince and what she has worked for in the city in order to extend our own lives. Because that is the cards on the table, isn't it? Either abandon Maggie to her fate or die beside her.
It seems to be the implication.
I find that my entire experience as a kindred has been fight beside Maggie or die at the feet of someone else. And this isn't a change, but I do grow weary of this, all in general. That is not to say that I blame Maggie. I mean, this started with the former prince and the coterie, and some of those have come and gone, and some of us have been bound more tightly by each adventure that we have faced. But I don't know what the right course of action here is. I know how I feel. I know what I fought Annabelle about, and I feel that my stance among the Camarilla, at least the Cam of the city here, is fairly obvious. I have spent more than my power proving my loyalties. But many of you have more option here than I do. At least less well-known proclivities. Braggy's clearly been offered an out. It seems like you've been approached, and she'll look at Roland, and then it's at Egret. Through your clan and your clan's behavior, and with your Elysium, and then her gaze turns to Six and Tony. You have a haven of your own. So, what sacrifices are you now willing to make, or do you wish to hop off this carnival ride? And if you're uncomfortable speaking to me about this, I'm happy to step outside. I recognize again that my power here, my it's almost foretold. There's very little I will be able to do to suddenly change the public knowledge of my standing in this fight.
I have a question. So Braggy received a letter, correct?
Yes.
Mercy, were you approached by someone?
I've been approached by many people. I haven't had anything that stood out as the, say, burning monk in your home here, or other obvious death threats. My gallery is clearly also a target. That's where Agent Stone found us and things, and I have all sorts of people come and go. But Braggy brought this letter to me, and that is where I have been reached.
What's the equivalent of a sense motive roll?
Yeah, I was about to ask the same thing.
See if she's lying.
Okay. Well, let's see for that. Let me look.
Okay.
It's going to be
Yeah,
probably
preach.
insight and wits, most likely. And then if Mercy would like to be deceiving, then you're probably going to do subterfuge and composure manipulation.
Yep. So wits and awareness?
Insight and wits.
Darn. I got a lot more dots in awareness than I do insight.
You said inside. I mean, we're just gonna party.
Let's party. If we're going to party, let's
Party.
party.
So, sorry, you said subterfuge,
Yeah.
manipulation?
Or composure, whichever is higher for you.
Would my communication skill give me any additional dice here?
I'll give you one.
And would how much extra time Mercy and Ygritte have spent together give me anything?
You did specifically state that you haven't really seen each other for a couple weeks.
Ooh. I'm just gonna assume mine's 0. Difficulty.
Yeah, but I helped her with her gallery opening. We took that trip to the fight club.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh, buddy.
Big
Ouch.
ouch. I'll let you have one for familiarity.
Okay.
To counteract Mercy's one.
Just leave the difficulty at 2, or you got something else for me?
It, probably.
Doesn't matter.
If it's
hey,
0.
That's 5. So your difficulty's 5, technically.
Crap.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For all intents and purposes, Mercy seems to be telling.
Do you mind if I reroll?
You can.
The 2.
Because it is a special game, I will allow one reroll. We're not doing burn all of our willpower type game tonight, but you can do one. You too, Tony, because I know you want to with that.
I can't roll enough to get it anyway, so that's fine.
You could do.
Yeah.
You could do successes. Or not successes, crits.
Get crits. So is it what, 3?
Yes.
It's a
Is not gonna...
that would have been
So that would have been
4.
4. So
4.
Still negative.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You guys gotta trust me, okay?
I don't trust you any further. Well, never mind. I can throw you pretty far.
Probably throw me pretty
I was trying.
Yeah, I don't trust you.
Okay, so those are the rolls. Getting back, what were we saying before we descended into rolls? Like, take me back.
Was Mercy contacted, and she said that
She's
many people come in and out of the gallery, but this letter was Braggy's.
Okay.
If you wanted to add to that 6, if I didn't state clearly there.
Well, I can say for me at least. My clan are supposed to be neutral. Originally, they pulled out of Chicago entirely, right? But then again, this isn't Clan Giovanni anymore. This is more than just one bloodline. This is a lot of people now. And we literally pulled a coup, removed our elders, and now we're all functioning together, mostly unified. After our elders kept us fighting for literal centuries. Like, we killed Augustus Giovanni, right? All kinds of bullshit, not important right now. So most of what Maggie has been doing has resonated with me. It's been nothing but making ourselves better. So I can't say that, at least with what I know now, she's done anything particularly unforgivable. Now, to be clear, one of the things Justicars tend to like to enforce the best is against the crime of diablerie, right? So
You should stay away from her.
so should Maggie.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, though on both your cases, I believe a blood hunt was called.
It is technically legal, although really, really frowned upon. But they can't do anything to us directly for it, but they'll never do anything to you directly anyways, and you'll still die. But, circling back around to the point. Unless it comes that Maggie has truly done something actually unforgivable and actually shitty, I can't find myself finding fault with her. Yet. At least of what I know of her. It really seems like what Maggie is trying to do is the same sort of thing that happened in my clan. And that's going to make a lot of old, rich-ass political vampires real nervous.
Aren't they already nervous? Isn't that the problem?
They're nervous. And I'm going to have to walk out of this room and go shake one of their hands here in a little bit. But, yeah. Yeah. So far, she has been nothing but good to me. I think she's been nothing but good to a lot of people in Chicago.
There's a
It's
knock at the door
Ah, good.
at that.
He'll look over to Six briefly and go, you want this or you want me to do it?
I'll take.
And he'll remain in his seat, but look over his shoulder.
The door cracks open just slightly, Six. You see Zinni on the other side. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Zingy.
Zingi. She says, "Ma'am, one of the patrons left this," and hands you a folded piece of paper, and then says, "I do apologize for disturbing you," and closes the door. And you have a message in your hand.
Okay.
/Discord.
Has anyone told you about that you're really good at this tension thing?
you suck.
Me? Oh, shucks,
So,
guys. Thanks. I just like to interject when I think it'll be most annoying, which I think is the art of tension.
So Six will take the note, turn away from the door, but meet Tony's eyes first,
Mm-hmm.
and then she'll read the note. Her expression won't really betray anything, but she will walk over to Tony and hand him the note.
Okay.
yeah, beans.
Clickings are happening. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Fuck. He'll look at it and say, fuck. And then he'll look up and meet Roland's eyes and goes, she gave me her number. This is not what I wanted this night to go.
Was it flirting or was it just a number?
I would love to meet in my capacity as Justicar of the
Oh.
Camarilla.
Well,
That's a threat.
that's at least, better than her actually taking an active interest.
And neat.
Again, I'd rather that than
Cool. So that's a thing. And he'll put it down on the table. And it literally is just like those words.
Oh. Braggy looks to Mercy and recalls, you never did explain to me what was in that package you got the other night.
Yeah, at the gallery.
Yeah.
I told you it was a surprise. I can tell you it's a business card for your position as a musician for the gallery, just in case people were interested in booking you for other locations. I had hoped to give it to you on your first night of performing.
Can I see
one
if she's
piece of good news?
what's the rule to see if she's bullshitting or not?
Where's the bullshit button?
Your bullshit meter is insight and wits, and your difficulty is 5 because that's gonna stand from Mercy's earlier deception.
And we don't know if she's deceiving or not.
Right.
Fuck! Vampires neat!
Nope.
Okay, I believe her.
Yeah, no.
absolutely not.
You're like, man, that's gonna be a cool card.
Wow.
Now she's actually got to get business cards made.
I didn't know I had downtime permissions. Okay, I would already have them if I did.
You can have business cards made. You had a day. I mean, I think Vistaprint is like 24-hour turnaround.
Forgive me for
Not sponsored.
springing that randomly, but with all the concerning discussion and really bad news that's been brought up,
I had hoped it would be a surprise, but I understand given the current circumstances and even the letter that you got asking you to question what you know. It makes sense that such things are less fun and more concerning now. Like I said, at the time even I didn't want to spoil anything, but it's just a gift. It's easy enough to make it an unsurprise.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So, to recap a little bit, we have the Justicar's number in our possession.
Right. Could I?
Specifically,
Tony has the Justicar's number.
If anyone else uses this, I'm sure people will.
well, yes.
I'll write that down.
I wasn't going to, however.
Look, back to the topic at hand of where we stand with Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, my decision, of course, follows Roland's decision. The Justicar scares the ever-loving shit out of me. She could end me like that. And I believe she would. Maggie, on the other hand, also could end me like that. But I think she'd have a lot less reason to do it. And that sounded weird. But I've always been on the side of progress. Personally.
If it makes you feel any better, I think that even if circumstances were such that Maggie found herself in a place where she thought she might have to end you, it would cause her quite the struggle. And perhaps, I don't know that she would. I think that she's quite good at finding loopholes or other paths. She has fondness for all of us, and I think that is in your favor, even if you were to do something that she disapproved of. But I do have, as much as anyone can know a kindred, I do have a more internal view of her plans. I perhaps know more of her history than, well, surely. There are things that Maggie and I have discussed as I took hold of this on life and what it means to be a kindred that are not necessarily my place to share, but do shed light on her motivations. And given those understandings, I again feel that perhaps she is doing what she thinks is best for everyone, despite what the Camarilla may feel about it. And I do think that you will hold a special place in her new world. I mean, she wouldn't have let Roland embrace you if she didn't have some sort of fondness for you both, right?
Mm.
Oh. Roland, what you think?
About which part?
About where we are generally standing as a coterie, I suppose. You're kind of in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, I mean, because it's my Justicar, I have to play this precariously. It's not that I don't want to go against Maggie. That is not what I want. Ultimately, that is where I lie. But things... When Justicars come down, things had to be played a lot closer to the best.
Fair.
So, I say that knowing things might happen, but just know that my intent is to... I like the changes, personally. Things might be said, things might happen, but know that that is where I lay.
We'll all have to play a very careful game here. And I think knowing with this base of communication and knowing where our loyalties have been and lie now, that our actions in these coming nights might be unsure. But the undercurrent will remain the same, it seems.
I feel like there has to be some way where everyone can get what they want without more bloodshed, but I could be
Yeah,
horribly wrong on that.
Good
Very
luck with that.
mortal perspective.
No.
People change. Kindred, they've had a lot more time to get stuck in their ways.
There's literally two outcomes here. Maggie ascends to the inner circle, or Maggie dies.
And takes us out with her.
Well, not necessarily, but
Depends on how we play things.
There's
But those are the two
entirely-
outcomes.
There's entirely the possibility with either of those outcomes. We could all still be here.
Do you think so? I'm not sure that is true in the city.
It depends directly of what the prince asks of us.
and what she's planning.
If she doesn't ask us to do anything that violates the traditions, then we are, like, technically not having done anything illegal or could be openly prosecuted for. Doesn't mean it isn't going to happen anyways, but not openly.
Yeah, it seems like the same rules that fuck us over, essentially, are the same rules and laws that could protect us.
That's the dance.
Are you in a further, more precarious situation, deputy? Is that still your role in the city?
It is. I uphold the tradition, so it does not violate anything. So, it actually helps
Good.
if I do my job properly.
I just have to keep my nose clean and be a good little sire. Or
Chowder.
Childer.
Chowder.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly certain they won't. The Justicar does not approve of my methods, but
But you keep the traditions.
there's the
Well.
traditions, and then there's the changes. Because what I do does not violate the traditions, yet is still looked down upon.
Yeah, the Camarilla really doesn't like people being on social media or technology in general. There's a whole back and forth on that.
So how do we proceed?
Well, as it seems now, we just keep doing what we're doing. Unless we have some sort of plan to enact, which I do not. Normal procedure when a Justicar is in town, as unnormal as that is all of the elders run around and try and hide their dirty little secrets before the big bad detective can call them out on it. That is what a Justicar would expect to see. So, that's not unusual. There's always someone just bending the rules just a little too much, and there's always someone just stretching the line a little too far. That's considered normal. I mean, you can be prosecuted for that. But that's not out of the realm of what this person is expecting to see. This house, for example. You guys haven't known me for very long. Does this place really seem very much my style?
It's so colorful.
Mm-hmm. Really opulent.
Mm.
Really full of obnoxious candelabras and statues that just seem to take up spaces in the corner. Does really strike you as my style?
Not
100%. Yep, I can totally see it.
It's exactly what people expect from a Giovanni mansion. So that's what they see. I recommend y'all do that. At least until we have something we can actually do, which means we're jumping from proactive to reactive. But I don't see any other plan, honestly.
Is it just assumed I'm going along with anyone or anything at this stage, or is that sorry?
No.
Okay.
Forgive us. We weren't intending to assume.
You are your own person. You may be an adopted child, but you still have a viewpoint.
Did you not want to bring that letter to Maggie any longer? I mean, that would indicate your intentions, at least. The letter says as much, doesn't it?
It's not necessarily just the letter inherently, it's more. We all have targets on our backs, and not just one. I mean, everyone wants to take us out somehow or another at this stage, I would argue.
You grew up with a bomb up your ass, son. Yeah, you got a target on your back.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And I just
yeah.
And I just want to take you out for dinner.
All that to say, we have a lot of threats to deal with right now, whether direct or indirect. And this is truly, I can't even say it's 4D chess. It's more like 6-dimensional chess, which just gets into quantum physics, among other things, and I don't understand that worth a damn. So, the logical course of action would be survival. And so, that seems to be sticking with the coterie. That seems to be sticking by the progressive nature, but with caution. And personally, I'm still all for trying to find another way to resolve this where everyone can get what they want within reason and no one really has to start another war in the city or the world for that matter, but that just is impossible.
I'll let you in on a little thing. The only way you get out of this is to leave the city.
That's true.
That is how you stay safe.
Yeah, the life is an adventure, and I'm willing to stick around for all the fireworks, as it were, but I hope they're more metaphorical than physical.
You just said you wanted to be cautious, and the way to do what you just said is to leave the city. I'm not telling you to leave. I'm saying if that's what you want, that is your only option.
As a point, that's fair. I would recommend, after tonight's meeting, which I feel might be drawing to a close unless I'm mistaken, everyone might want to reach out to their contacts, because Roland brings up a good point. The smart thing to do in a situation like this, where others figure out what's going on, would be to bug the fuck out. We might need to get an inventory of who's sticking around. Because the smart people, if word's out on the street, and it might not be yet, or we might be lucky and ahead of the curve, although I doubt that. We're very rarely ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But keep an eye out, keep an ear out. See who's reacting how. That way, if shit does hit the fan, at least in this fucked up game of chess, we'll actually know the pieces that are on the board.
And I at least know my Primogen will be in the city, because she doesn't have a choice. But the question is,
concerning.
But whose side is she on?
We can only hope our side and assume not.
The
If
one
it's
that
anything
keeps
like
her
the last
alive.
threat, we'll probably find out the very last second in a dramatic Toreador reveal.
What a fucking
Tuxedo Mask.
Wow! Rude.
Are you saying that she didn't do that? Because she very much did that, and it surprised the shit out of me.
No, I don't like you putting all of us into it. Rude.
We're dramatic assholes. It's what we are.
Yep.
Rude.
I'm not even gonna mince words about it.
I am the drama.
So rude.
Yeah, you are.
Well, that's actually probably the first good note that we've had tonight. Besides
Our agreement that Roland's an asshole?
I did not
Never
agree
said that.
Roland was an
I said
asshole.
Toreadors are dramatic assholes.
Wow.
I did not call him an asshole.
Wow.
I have
is-
said that before, but not
is this-
here.
Is this how we make ourselves feel better? Just knock the deputy.
Great,
Knock the deputy. Yeah.
it's the first joke we've gotten, which is saying something with this group. But this house is open to you all. You crash, you've got safe rooms. You need basic bagged blood. It's available. Welcome to stick around all night if you want. I'm gonna put money on the fact that the Justicar is gone.
I would imagine.
So I'm not gonna have a meeting tonight, but I will probably have one soon. But thanks for meeting.
You
I
have
feel
fun
like-
with that.
I have some ideas.
Mm.
But
I'm sure she does too.
I'm sure she does.
In a few days, we could meet like this again. Like I said, we have this meeting with Maggie coming up, and I think that will be very relevant to us all.
Yep.
Again, Braggy and I have this meeting, and I would certainly like to clue you all in afterwards.
That would be appreciated.
Tony, she will ask you about the labyrinth.
Good thing I don't know a whole lot.
I'm warning you.
I'll have to just
Egret, your
refer her
bag-
to my.
Radiates again.
I'll just have to refer her to my boy Dirge, who isn't in town anymore. Pity. Who was actually down there.
That's probably
Yeah,
for
how's
the
he doing?
best.
He is living his best weird life in a library right now, and it's his favorite thing.
I guess
You
I'm
know,
happy.
how,
I said
you know
hi.
how weird it is to smuggle a kindred back to Arkham, Massachusetts?
Pretty weird.
I mean, I can think of at least 3 ways to do it.
Like a well-sealed box, or
That was kind
I
of
mean-
how it worked out.
I mean,
He brought tunes. It was...
you
Yeah,
could send
it was
it.
good.
You could send him in a coffin. That would be great. Transporting a dead body.
yeah.
People don't ask a whole lot of questions.
Yeah, but he's good.
Good.
And safe and not in town.
The best place to be currently.
Yeah. So, enjoy and be merry. And if shit hits the fan, if you need to run here, you can. Like, Maggie has good security. But I feel like it's going to be under heavy scrutiny.
Oh,
Yeah.
And if you need someplace that isn't necessarily directly associated with the Prince of the City, this is literally a neutral ground that has been classified as neutral ground.
Thank you.
Alright, well, you'll get up. Pointedly put in the code so that everyone sees it. It's like a 6-digit thing. Pops the door, pokes his head out and looks out to see down the hall if the seat that was previously occupied by the Justicar is filled or empty.
It's empty. You called.
Sigh of relief. Sigh of relief.
can it be a 7-digit code? Because I have the perfect code for it.
No.
8675309.
Yeah, you saw through me. All right, it's a 6-digit
That's
code.
why it's not a 7-digit code. As a last note, at least as far as what Tony wants to do tonight, he will send a text to that number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saying, Tony, Jessica, I gotta word it right. I would be happy to meet you. State the time. And I will be there. Send. And we'll find out if this gets set up before or after Mercy's meeting with Prince.
I will let you in on a little secret. It will be after.
Okay.
To kind of take back a little bit, because I do appreciate you guys doing all the talking, and I don't have to do a lot. It saves my throat exponentially.
Rather important thing.
You all... it feels like an innuendo, but I'm going to let it slide. The coterie disembarks from the room. You all head out, presuming to do the things that you need to get done for the rest of the evening, which is half or so over, give or take. Um, I assume that Tony, Six, you're staying within the Giovanni mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Roland, Ygritte, are you venturing off to do anything more this evening that you want to touch on, or just mention?
Yeah, I'm just gonna um call up clubs, see if they have an open spot. I need to play some music.
You need to vent. Mention of DJ Doulahan, you get a slot. You there was some new guy that was up and coming. He was about to make his debut night, and they were like, "Fuck that,
Oh,
we got Doulahan. Get the fuck out of here."
I feel
So you have
shitty.
to live with that. Ygritte,
Do they tell me?
absolutely,
obviously.
absolutely they
Oh,
do. In fact, when you
fuck.
pull up, the guy's like hauling his stuff out, and they're like, "Get the fuck out, go! We gotta make space. We gotta make room." They're like
Uh,
shuffling the guy out, and he's got like a half broken robot head mask that he was gonna wear, and
oh,
Ygritte will give this guy her card.
yeah, yeah.
He's actually just a tribute to DJ Doulahan. Like his whole thing is like, oh yeah, I'm a tribute band.
yeah,
Oh, if he's a tribute band, no, he's not getting a card.
right. He's JD Houlihan. That's his name.
Jesus.
Oh.
Oh
Does he have a Does he have a demo?
Yeah, he's got several CDs that are burned in the back of his van that's got a unicorn spray painted on the side. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You're making it so hard to be
I
nice.
know.
I'll take the CD.
He gives it to you and he goes, "Do you want me to sign it?"
No. It's fine. I'll give it a.
Okay.
I'll definitely give it a listen.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Is your socials on here?
Yeah. On the back, I'm on Blue Sky, and I was on Facebook, but fuck those guys, and also X, fuck those guys, and yeah. So just Blue Sky.
Instagram?
Nah,
Just Blue Sky?
just Blue Sky. Fuck those guys.
So, tip for you. I know you want to say fuck those guys, but if you want your name out, you gotta just promote everywhere. You can't just limit yourself to one platform.
That's
Just
fair.
saying.
That's fair, man.
But
Just don't
fuck
pay
X.
them for any
But
marketing.
fuck X. You
Yeah,
can say fuck X.
Yeah, fuck X for sure.
Well, I'll give it a listen, and hopefully, hopefully it's good. I hope it is.
You make your way in, set your equipment up.
Yep.
Give me your performance roll if you'd like,
Hey.
just as a fun way to wrap that up. While we're doing that, Braggy, Mercy, you came here together. I assume you're also leaving together. What are the destinations for the two of you?
Braggy actually will go a different. He'll go somewhere else, believe it or not. Braggy says to Mercy, I need to clear my head after all these heavy discussions. And I need some space for the
Sure.
moment.
Do you have something to make your way back with?
Yeah,
Cash.
yeah, I can make my way back.
Okay.
Okay, that didn't happen, right?
What's Braggy doing? Now you gotta tell us. Like,
Well,
Okay.
believe it or not,
Four's good.
Mhm.
It's a pretty good show. You're a little shook up still. Not your best
Yeah.
work. But
Yeah.
compared to Unicorn Spray Paint Van guy, you knocked it out of the park.
Braggy will go back to the cemetery where he first awoke in this new unlife.
God damn, you guys make it so fun for me. I love every part of this. It's great. Yeah. Let's do that real
Yeah.
quick.
And he's going to look around
Whoop.
first.
Okay.
So, what
I
would
own
that be?
place.
I'm an old and wealthy vampire. I own that cemetery.
I do.
What are you looking
So-
for, Braggy?
First, I'm looking to see if there's anyone around.
Snack?
Not that you can see.
Braggy will think for a moment before he does this, because he knows this could be a stupid decision.
I love those.
But he's going to actually reach out to Agent Stone, of all people.
What? This is a
And-
left field twist that I didn't see, and I am enjoying it because anytime I can shoehorn Stone in,
I mean, you did have that message come in for
I
us.
did. It was fun to Photoshop
Motherfucker.
that picture.
That's great.
Okay. What are you reaching out to? What do you send? I assume you're messaging him on the line that you know he's part of, or the group line, or how are you doing it specifically?
Can I reach out to him individually?
Yeah, you could get that from the information. You're a techie sort of kindred. You
All
can
right.
reach out.
I send him a private text and say, we need to talk. I think a war is about to hit the world, if not at least Chicago. And I need all the allies I can get.
The message that you send bounces back as undeliverable. For whatever that means, you know that he's responded to this line before. You know that he monitored the group line previously. So, for all intents and purposes, your message has been sent. And while you don't get an electronic response from Stone, there's something else that you get while standing out here in this cemetery. The wind picks up slightly. Leaves rustle. For a minute you think, did I hear a footstep? You don't know. Distinctly in the whispers of the air, you do hear, prepare. Mercy, where are you going?
You know, Mercy was gonna go for a snack at the park.
Snack in a park? Good choice.
Yeah. Just she's more prone. Her proclivities lead her towards dark alleys and shady abandoned park areas, and
True.
she's going to go for a snack. But then, additionally, Antonia's brought up a good point about reaching out to her contacts, and so she would be looking to arrange meetings with them. But I don't know if that's just more downtime than it should be here.
That can definitely be more downtime. To reach out to them, are you going to like your art gallery, to your office to contact them? How are you doing it specific? Excuse me.
So her gallery does have like a collection of the gang that she employs.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would find them there, but then some of her other contacts would be she'd be more likely to find them at other people's galleries or like other like artsy areas of Chicago. So she'd be kind of going in that direction, meeting in person or tracking them down in person.
Okay. So
You have that information, right?
probably.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
I have a plethora of files on everybody, so I'm sure it's in there at some point. If you want to send me more specifics, I will always happily take the more forefront information than having to sort through everything. However,
Yeah,
I'll probably find it given the time. Where are you residing for the remainder of the night, Mercy? That's kind of where I'm getting to.
Oh, got you. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I'd have her go back to the gallery.
Just going back to the gallery. And is the gallery closed? Do you have anybody there other than yourself? Or is it kind of your own sort of place?
Just like her hired staff. But you said what if it's pretty late, then she's probably mostly done for the evening, or like it's probably closed up for the evening.
Okay. So closed up, mostly just you there when you
Yes.
enter in this evening. Perfect. That's what I wanted to hear.
Gotcha. Hang on, I'm so sorry. There's somebody knocking on my door.
Absolutely. Take a minute. I'm just going to go here for a minute.
Oh no, I have concerns. She's gonna come back and find herself dead.
Dead.
Who killed me?
Now she won't know who of us killed her. Who's the untrustworthy ones now?
Yeah, Beans.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Beans.
Bean.
Beans done did it.
Oh shit, you know what? That's actually a plausible case now. I forgot for a half a second about that.
This whole episode is a murder mystery. Solving
And it was all Beans.
Who killed Mercy? Yep.
Great. All right. Mercy's gonna die. What happens now?
Okay.
Mercy's already dead. That's all.
Oh, well, that's true.
So, Mercy, you return back to your gallery for the evening. It's kind of where you're wrapping up, where you're doing things. As you enter into the building, nothing seems out of the ordinary. Nothing seems disturbed. You don't get any sort of your alarm didn't ping. You have systems in place to prevent.
Right.
Yeah. You go to your office space, your room. And as you flip on the light, there is a person standing in there.
Oh.
And the one second, I gotta move this. That would have not been fun. The person standing there is a younger woman, and she looks at you, and she goes, "I'm sorry."
Dark hair?
Yes, she does have dark hair.
Okay.
She stands there and she looks at you and she goes, Miss Masters, my name is Lucinda, and you are under formal investigation by the Camarilla. You will cooperate, or you will meet your final death. And that's where we're going to end it.
Oh, that's a bad
Lucinda.
name. That's a bad name.
That's a bad name.
Great.
Visible confusion?
Maybe you should have watched the episode.
If you know, you know.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Beans.
Great.
But yeah, it's just Lucinda. She's nobody. She's just a person.
Don't need him.
It's a little guy.
She's just a little lady.
Silly little lady.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for the people that do know, the fact that there's two might be a bigger problem.
Yeah, no shit.
Big problem. Yeah.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting to do this for months.
So, I think she's the Ventru Justicar.
Fuck.
So we got two in the city,
With more on the way.
which is a terrible thing. Fuck, what did
know.
Maggie do?
I don't know if there's ever been two in the same place at the same time for anything historically.
I'm gonna tell you a fun fact about all the research I've done.
I was
No,
gonna say, man, you jumped into all this lore.
no, there hasn't. Aside from when they're summoned, which also fun fact, and this is just canonically like the time frame in which our game is taking place, because we're not in 2025 yet in Vampire. We're still in 2024. Which, if you look at when all of the clans converge for
I'm
the
the
inner
worst.
circle,
I'm the
is the
worst.
year that one of those
Yep.
meetings takes place. Ha ha ha! Surprise! Here we are.
Which is bullshit. Like, so okay, basically, we don't know necessarily when it's supposed to happen. Like, shit is supposed to happen, but we know the first year, and we know they meet every 13 years. So people went through and went, okay, this year, this year, this year, this year. Last year was fucking one of them. So we're fucked, guys. That's the short version.
Yay!
What's the long version? Oh,
We're
wait, we don't have
fucked.
time.
Well, we're about to find out in the next couple months, aren't we?
The long
Alright.
version is you could be
Fucked.
fucked. Yeah.
Just normal Monday then. Got it.
Oh, also, we're fully out of character now, right?
Absolutely out of character.
Okay, yeah. That meme that I threw down there, that was real, man. That's
know.
braggy.
Yeah.
You just fucked up, real bad.
Yeah, dude.
You just went, oh, by the way, regular human who is not allowed to know anything about vampires, there might be a secret, spooky, ultra top secret vampire war.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So is Mercy
He's-
obligated to kill him now,
He's
or
just
Damn.
a
Did he
babe.
just sign
Depends on the
her?
prince.
He's
Te-
just
te-
a babe. It would have to
te-
be brought before the prince.
Technically, it might fall under my job to kill him.
Okay, sure.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
he, you
your
know what?
sister's
As
job.
long as he didn't just sign Mercy's death warrant. I mean, she'll
no,
kill him.
You don't
She
I
will.
talk about Fight Club.
He is
If-
kind of on you.
Yeah,
So
I
you
know,
will
right?
get-
So
you
she'll
will
kill
get-
him. She'll kill him.
You'll get punished.
I know.
Or maybe
Ah.
Stone just took mercy on him and was like, no, that didn't go. I didn't see that, and just sent it back.
Didn't
don't know.
deliver.
We
Didn't
don't know.
work.
I didn't-
Sorry.
It did say
Anything could happen.
undeliverable specifically immediately. It did say that. So yeah, that's where we'll pick up next time.
It's a masquerade violation, and
On
Maybe.
listen.
Okay, did you teach him the traditions?
no,
Uh,
she didn't teach him.
Didn't teach him shit.
Sorry.
It's in-
I mean,
it's in
there was
Roll20.
some conversations.
There was
in
like slight
between
conversations.
The bomb inside his body, and
Yeah, so that's your
the-
fault. That's
Yeah.
your fault.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is on you.
No, it's great. Yeah, give a child a child. Thank you. It's gonna go so well.
Hey, I thought we talked about this when
We
we
did.
walked into the room and found him doing flips, and then we gave him like Burger King. Like I thought we talked
had a
about
whole conversation.
masquerade during that whole conversation.
Yes, I
I'm
mean,
just-
in
You-
fairness, these things
now-
have been covered technically.
I'm just gonna
Dude.
leave this here.
To be fair, yes, you did. You had this conversation with him about how, like, you can't do this shit in public. You got to keep it secret. Nobody really told him, though, that, like, your communications with Stone were technically not super kosher when those were all happening. That was kind
It's
of
fair.
just, yada yada away as who the fuck is this guy and how does he already know about us? So it's probably
This
okay
isn't
to
safe.
talk
This is
about
bad.
I'm
Let's have a
fair-
secret line that he's not part of because this isn't okay.
it. So.
I feel like it was pretty heavily covered, but Braggy hasn't been,
Also-
I'm just gonna leave it there. It's a list.
Also-
He likes lists.
Also, in most of our conversations with him over text, he did most of the talking.
Yeah.
It's true. No, see, it's not that we didn't have these conversations. It's that I don't think they were well absorbed.
Yep.
Also, in his own defense, I'm sorry, was that supposed to be like the really heavy part when he became no longer a human, when he was actively targeted, when the city was actively under a massive attack, or when we pulled the bomb out of his body? Which part of those was like the part that he was supposed to be like, oh right, this is a secret?
He's like 3 weeks
Yeah.
old, and he's been through a
He's
lot.
like 3 weeks old.
So
That it is actually
Yeah.
super fair that he has not absorbed anything. Like,
So
and
yeah,
it has been pants on fire this whole
Uh-huh.
time.
Yeah, but he did this with 2 Justicar in the city. This
Yeah.
is terrible.
Like, he's been thrown into the deep end of the pool with concrete shoes.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is how
Yes.
this is going.
This is terrible.
I don't know. Ygritte knows that was a bad fucking idea. And
No,
she's
I-
even
Find out
more
how it
of a
plays out.
baby.
Yeah.
We'll find out how it plays out.
No
Oh.
offense, my dude,
it
but
it gives me all the pleasure to be able to just show a picture and say a sentence, and you guys are all up in fucking arms about it. I love that. That's my favorite part of Vampire. And
Is it?
nobody knows
it?
what Braggy did. He was
Nope.
alone.
yeah,
It's true.
True.
We don't know
Great.
that.
true enough.
The
Hey, wait,
cemetery
hold
is
on,
totally
hold on,
not
wait.
bugged.
Yes.
Honestly,
Uh-huh.
we set up, me and Roland, Matt, Mercy, and Roland set up Braggy's computers and cell phones.
Yes.
Yep.
And did we not put in, not a fail
Uh-huh.
safe necessarily, but like tracking of these things? So the deputy technically probably knows.
May.
Maybe.
He's
Depends.
techie.
It was something. Well, that's true. I mean, that's true, depending on what Braggy did. But theoretically, there is like access to his devices because he is brand new, and we did very
But,
carefully
cur-
select his phone.
But currently, I have no reason to do that.
That was going to be my counter argument to that point. Is
Yeah.
that there's no reason to suspect that he would go and do this.
That's
There's
fair.
no
Okay.
reason to suspect it. So there.
Now,
It
if
can't be
that's
what your character would do.
no. If something happens and things happen, and then I have reason, then yes. But until that's a thing,
Sure,
no.
sure. Okay, but that is something
More
we all know.
importantly,
I,
That is
more
an
I
importantly,
also. I
the
also
mistakes that people make the most interesting stories.
so
Oh yeah,
much.
for sure. It's gonna be great.
My favorite part too about that whole thing that he did out in the cemetery is you totally just were like, the text message is the scary thing.
Uh-huh.
Why'd you do
Not
that?
the creepy voice on the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
no,
We
see,
just
we
expect you
the
to
spooky
kill
shit.
us.
Okay, well that's fair, I suppose.
But
yeah.
more
We expect it
interesting,
from you
more interestingly, who's telling him to prepare?
in your cemetery
Yeah.
That's true.
again. Yeah, no,
Whose voice? I will tell you, it sounded like a woman's voice. That is
yeah,
all.
great.
It didn't sound like Claymore.
I was gonna say, can we have Stone check that door?
For all that you guys know, Claymore is somewhere underground. Actually, some of you do know where she is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Killed her brother.
Maybe,
Something, yeah.
maybe, sorta, kinda.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Man.
yeah. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for
This was
running
pretty
the
fun.
game by yourself and having a big old long talky talk. So
If we didn't do this before episode 1, I feel like it might have actually moved too fast.
I
think we needed this.
That is something that I wanted to touch on a little bit too. And I think I said it before towards the end of the last season, but it's been a minute, so let me reiterate. This will probably stretch outside the bounds of our normal, like what Tog and I try to do with like the 8-episode or 10-episode season, and we try to keep it squeezed. This I want to give time for all the plot lines to play out, because this is most likely the last of this coterie. Now I'm not barring, fun special episodes or fun things later, or ever being back in Vampire again, because it is a system that I really love and I enjoy running it.
This is really good, yeah.
Actually, and just to tease, and I know we haven't even gotten to season 3 yet, but I really want to tell, and I kind of really want to run the Fall of London, and that might be something that we do. But that's
That'll be
not
fucking. I
not
know.
now.
That'll
Not
be
now.
great.
But
That'll be great.
later, maybe. I don't know. We'll talk.
That'd be a great miniseries.
I appreciate you all. I have fun with you every time we play, even if it is just me listening to you all talk, which is great, honestly. And I think we will touch base in a week or two. To begin,
Thank you for running this game. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
yeah.
thank
Okay,
you.
this isn't even the game yet.
Thank you for playing in it, because you're all awesome, and I love the characters that you've made.
Uh-oh.
And the decisions. that
Bad
you
for us.
Yeah, right?
I love the characters that you've made, past tense,
And we'll miss
for no
them
reason.
dearly.
I've made tiny foam tombstones that I'm going to send you all. It's lovely.
You would
Yeah.
absolutely
The
do
funniest
that.
part is you know I would do it.
I know exactly that you would.
But on that note, and I will say good night and goodbye to everybody. And with that, goodbye.